Coming live from Colchester, England, United Kingdom is our guest this afternoon. Welcome to this very special edition of the KJ Masterclass Live, the show which ensures that you profit from your time spent here with experts, either through their industry insights, information, or simply learning from them. And today we have Agi Keramidas, knowledge broker, mentor, author, host of the Personal Development Mastery podcast. Welcome to the show, Agi.
AJ, it's such a pleasure to be here. I'm thrilled and very excited for our conversation today.
Same here, same here. You're welcome to the show. You are welcome to India. And I'm sure a lot of people will benefit from what you will be talking about because these are matters of the heart that we'll talk about, and about personal development, about self mastery. So, what you talk about is going to bring each one of us much more closer to ourselves. So, first to understand from you, Agi, is that you say that you are on a lifelong journey of personal growth and self mastery. Why do you say so? That it's a lifelong journey, and I thought people always look towards some goal or the other. So how people calibrate to the both the things in terms of achieving a goal and as well as going on to a lifelong journey.
Of course, yes. Well, achieving a goal is one thing, and there are many goals that we achieve one after the other during our life. But the lifelong, in terms of mastery, and especially mastery of one's self, it can't be just a finite point in time that you say, okay, now I have mastered my life. There's nothing else for me to do. And that's why I say it is lifelong, because there is always going to be some further level or some further understanding that you can gain, or whatever else. Each individual's journey is their own, but that's why I see it's lifelong, because it is a path. There is no destination. Mastery can't be a destination, because what's after there? Whereas with a journey, it is ongoing, and that's how I look at it.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, what does self mastery entail? What exactly is self mastery? Is it controlling my actions? Is it controlling my thoughts? How or controlling my say future attainment of my goal? How does this self mastery thing work along with my personal growth? Are they two different things, or is it the same thing, or one is the goal, one is the outcome, and one is the method to achieve it? How do you look at it?
It's a great question, AJ. And in a way, personal development and self mastery are the same thing, or they lead to the same path. Maybe they're not exactly the same thing, but they're very parallel, and one next to the other. You asked me about self mastery. For me, it has to do with fulfilling one's potential. You see, I believe that each of us is here on earth living their life for a purpose, or for some purposes. It doesn't have to be just one, it can be many, big or small. And mastery, self mastery, for me is exactly to understand that, to appreciate that, the truth of who we are and what we're meant here to do with our life, and then take the actions, as you said, control the thoughts as much as it's possible, direct in a way your life towards that destination of fulfilling that purpose, that potential that you came here with. I hope that makes sense as a
Yes, yes,
definition.
yes, yes, indeed, indeed. In fact, Agi, and so now to take this forward in terms of my personal development, how do I know that this is the time for me to take that turn, because the path that I have been walking is has not been the right one. For example, people do have this midlife crisis. Suddenly, at the age of 40, they find this is not what they wanted, and they want to take a new path. So how do I know now is the time to take the new path that I was in? Actually, I should have done long before. So how do I make that change? Should we call it the course correction? And for a person who is say younger, say 30, how does he know whether what he is doing is there for for the concrete level, for the going for a long period of time, and not that after some time again he will have to go for a course correction. So why not have a personal development module in your hand, or self mastery to such an extent that the path that you take from the very beginning is the path that you actually wanted to take or would want to take for yourself for a long time. That's, I guess, I'm talking about purpose, finding one's purpose. So
Mhm, mhm.
what would you like to tell so people before they turn 40 or earlier on, so that they are able to take much more control of their lives, so that they do not have any midlife crisis, so they do not have that loss of purpose, and and other problems that one can beset as you go forward in life. How do you look at this whole thing? Several things at the same time, Agi, but you are the master today. And since all are these are so interrelated, I thought, why not put them together so that you can answer them at your own pace.
Thank you. So I will try to address each of those different points that you made in that question. The first, you said, how do you know it's the right time, the right point to change? And I will say a little bit in a cheeky way as well. If you're watching this or if you're listening to this, it is the right time. And that's why you're watching it or listening to it. But apart from that, that aside, uh, I believe you know when the right time is to do that course correction that you said, because you feel it. You feel, and that happened with my own story, which I went through a midlife. I won't call it a crisis. I prefer to call it awakening, midlife awakening. But what happens is that deep down, you know, and you know if it is the right time or not. I wish I could give you an answer that you can tick some boxes and say if this happens, it is the right time. If this, it is not. But it is for each individual person to um, look or hear inside of them or feel inside of them and listen. Is this the right time? And I think you know it when you are unsatisfied with your life, when or even if you might be successful but feeling empty inside. There may be so many different things, and you are right about the 40 or the 40s. It is a period of time that for most people will accelerate some changes or some course corrections. So that's one thing out of what you said. uh, the other thing about the course correction itself, I think that even if you follow your purpose, as you said, and you do the personal development early in your life, and you're blessed to do that, because I started when I was in my late 30s. So, but even if you go to the direction that you believe it's the right one, I think the course corrections inevitably will happen with life, no matter how well we plan or how aligned we feel with our path in our life. Something will happen, a surprise will happen, a curveball, as they say, and we will need to self correct. So I think that's another thing. Self correction doesn't mean there is something wrong. Self correction is a part of the process, part of our life, and we have to embrace it, learn what we get from the self, that situation that we're in, and correct. As you said, the word correction is very precise in this. There is
Right.
there is some improvement, in other words. Um, You also said about purpose. Now I'm trying to think what the purpose. Again, I said something earlier, and I will repeat that because I think it's important. Many people think that purpose is one thing that it guides one's life from the beginning until the end. This grand vision of changing the world or whatever. It's not necessarily like that. For some, might be exactly that. But I think for many people, if not for most people, there are many smaller purposes that once you fulfill them while you live your life, then they kind of lead to, the bigger picture, if you want. From my experience, with my knowledge, it's very difficult to have that, absolute understanding of that end point of purpose and work backwards from that. So that's why I say smaller purposes, and it also makes it easier and not intimidating, because how do I find my purpose? It can be a very intimidating question to answer, and do I know it's the right thing or not? But if you do smaller chunks of purpose, if I can if I can call it like that, and fulfill those, that builds and leads to bigger clarity about your life and your path. And I hope I covered it the best way I could, all your
No,
diverse questions, AJ.
absolutely, you did very very well, and I fully agree with you in terms of the purpose parts, especially. You know that as you go along, you keep on refining your purposes or different smaller purposes into maybe a bigger purpose, and that's a lifelong search. People, that it is not one thing that you start with, and only maybe very very rarely somebody can know, okay, this is like a thing that I want to do, and then you continue with life. For example, even for a doctor, you have been a dentist for several years now. So even for a doctor, you may set out with a purpose of the Hippocratic oath and fulfilling that those things. That later on you fall into difficult times. You have to make sure that the hospitals are profitable. Those business aspect comes in, your requirement comes in, and then you also want to maintain some bank balance, and then maybe afterwards again you realize again about the Hippocratic oath, and then you think about self actualization. Again you think about the purpose actually through for which you became a doctor, and then you want to do something for the society. So life is about many circles, full circles, half circles. One just doesn't know, and that is why perhaps we call it as life as a journey. So that way,
Absolutely.
I fully agree with that in terms of purpose. We keep on finding different aspects of ourselves. Now, in
Mhm.
terms of personal development, Agi, what is the role of intuition and our faith into that? Our belief system, our thought process, spirituality. You come from Greece originally, so
Mhm.
that's a land of so much of wisdom and knowledge for centuries. If so many things have come out of that place. In the same way, you talk about the leap of faith and trusting your intuition. Why
Mhm.
I ask this is that in today's time we have been attuned so much with thinking about data. Everything is so data based. You step out of the house, and even to walk from one street to another, you are thinking in terms of, okay, the GPS, or in terms of the step counters, and you
Mhm.
are taking care of everything in terms of data. Then you forget about intuition, and that's a human power actually. So how should one make use of intuition in today's time and actually make that useful for their lives, and rather than just going by what all the data and all the so-called experts, or as you can say, not wisdom but knowledge disseminators keep on putting so many things in your mind. How does one do that so that they actually have that personal development in the right earnest?
It's a great question, and the data. is important. Our we have an analytical brain that likes to analyze and find the information and what's right, what's wrong, do the lists and so on. And but there are limitations to that, and I think we all know people that have followed everything that their logic or the numbers or the results was pointing towards, and they don't. I'll come back to what I was saying earlier about the fulfillment of one's life and one's purpose. It's not a mathematical equation, and you will put, all the things, the numbers down and work it out. That's only one element of it, and you said earlier about my Greek heritage and what they contributed to the world, and I will share the same about your country and the contribution to the philosophy. And I think the Eastern philosophies are much more in tune with this element of intuition than the Western philosophy of the data and let's break it all down. Um, I think combining them is necessary. I don't say forget everything, that anything that your rational brain tells you and follow blindly whatever your gut is telling you, because there are some traps in that as well. I think we have both um, mind, the analytical mind, and our intuition or our spirit, if you will, our soul, that we both guide our body. And in my view, we have to combine them. If I were to favor one a little bit, especially in terms of decisions, I would favor the intuition and not the analytical brain, because many times that is influenced by limitations in our beliefs and fears, all these things that come to that. Whereas with the intuition, there is, in my view, a feeling more than a thought, and it is usually a light feeling. It's not something heavy that you say, "Oh my God, how am I going to do it?" It is something that gives you hope, that gives you inspiration. So yeah, I certainly combine them both, but the intuition has more weight, shall we say, in the decisions. Not only the big decisions, but the small decisions.
Right, right. You have put that well. So, in terms of now, tell us about your personal development mastery podcast, where there is so much of knowledge you have just shared. Now,
Mhm.
I'm sure you share much more there in your podcast, so that people can listen to those and gain much more knowledge beyond what they have gained at the moment.
Thank you. Yes, my podcast is called Personal Development Mastery. I have over 300 episodes now, so there is quite a lot of information. And what I found out is that no one has the time to listen to all of that. You can have all the knowledge out there. So what I have done, and I would like to offer that to your audience as well, AJ, I have created a short ebook with the top 10 best episodes of all the ones I have in the podcast that are about money, the ones that are about health, and the ones that are about self mastery, which you asked me about earlier. So that will give someone really the most value in the shortest amount of time, because you don't have to find out what it is. So you look at the category that you interest you the most and check out those 10 podcast episodes to find the one that I want. And that is, if I may share the link, I'm sure you will
Yes,
put
yes,
it somewhere in the
absolutely,
notes.
absolutely.
It is agikeramidas.com slash top 10, which is my name, and slash top 10. That's the best episode. So if you enjoyed this conversation and you would like to learn more, absolutely, you will gain lots of wisdom in that. It is a free resource for you.
Absolutely, absolutely. And how do people connect with you? Is there a better way to, quicker way to connect with you in terms of?
You can
getting
find me.
any business dealings or anything?
Feel free to reach out on me on social media. You will find me pretty much everywhere with my name. I found out that my name is quite unique, so there aren't many Agi Keramidas. If you look on whatever social media you're in, you will find me there. Send me a message. Tell me that you find me through AJ's podcast, and I will be very happy to have a conversation with you.
Wonderful,
And of course,
wonderful.
the
So
website
my
is
last
Agi
question.
Keramidas. Yes.
Yes, absolutely, and I'll all put all those details also in the show notes so that people can reach easily and know
Mhm.
more about you much more directly through those links. So my last question to you, Agi, is that from Greece to 2000, from uh, to the UK in 2010, then getting into dentistry, then changing lives, and now into being a wisdom knowledge broker, sharing wisdom about life and personal development, and now you are also doing a lot about podcasting. So, what is it that you finally seek for yourself at this point in time?
That's a deep question. I seek, if I will put it in two words, my growth and contribution. I seek to improve myself as a human being and grow via the personal development. But that is not about me. I'm not doing it for myself. I'm doing it so I can contribute more. I can impact more people. I can inspire more people, to take the steps to really find some fulfillment, do something different with their life. So yeah, it is a big a big question. I try to answer it as concisely as I could here.
Wonderful, wonderful. On this note, it's a wrap on this very special edition of the KJ Masterclass Live. Thank you so much indeed for joining us.
Thank you.